Chapter 9. So, you want to be a hero? The first time Harry performed the vanishing elephant trick was on January 1st, 1918, in a giant building called the Hippodrome in New York City. It was part of a spectacular magic show that Harry put on to raise money for the families of American soldiers killed in World War I. This was something that Harry cared about a lot, so it was important to him to do something and amazing. World War I broke out in Europe in 1914, while Harry was on tour in America. For a long time, the United States stayed out of the war. Harry canceled his shows in Germany. He also started telling reporters stories that made him sound more American. That was because of all the anti-Germany feeling in the country. Harry did not want to be associated with the enemy. Harry kept touring and performing as usual. But it was a sad time. Personally, for Harry, on July 17th, 1913, he suffered a shock from which I do not think recovery is possible. His mother, Cecilia West, died. All his life, Harry had kept his promise to his father. He always sent money home to his mother and took care of her. She lived with Harry and Bess in New York City till her dying day. Often Harry had brought Cecilia along to Europe to see him perform. He always said that his mother and Bess were his two sweethearts. Just as Harry had always feared, Cecilia died while he was away in Europe. As soon as he heard the news, he canceled the rest of the tour, including a performance from the Kings of Sweden, and rushed home for the funeral. For the rest of his life, he continued to mourn her death. Some people he met said it was all he could talk about. For the next few years, he was sad and unfocused. Even though he kept on performing, luckily for Harry, Bess was always at his side. She supported Harry through everything. Even when he was perfecting his most dangerous stunts, she never doubted that he would come back to her safe and sound. Sometimes he worried more than she did. Once, right before a bridge jump, he handed a friend a piece of paper that just said, I leave everything to Bess. He wanted to make sure she would be provided for if something should happen to him. In April 1917, the United States decided to join the war in Europe. Harry signed up for military service that same month. He was determined to help however he could. Unfortunately, Harry, now 43, was too old to join the army, even though he was in better shape than many younger men. So Harry found other ways to help. Millions of people were willing to pay money to see Harry perform. So why not give some of that money to the war effort? Harry did shows all across the United States to raise money for American troops. Not only that, he also performed for thousands of soldiers he did shows for the wounded in army camps. He even taught classes for soldiers before they went off to war, showing them how to escape from German handcuffs and locks. Harry had always guarded his secrets carefully. Now he revealed some of them. It was worth it if he could help Americans win. It is not a question of will we win or will we lose, he wrote. We must win. And that is all there is to it. The Hippodrome benefit alone, where he introduced the vanishing elephant, raised nearly $10,000 for families of American soldiers. All his life, Houdini devoted time to what he called good works. These included donating money to the hospitals and orphanages, where he also performed for free. Children adored him, and he especially loved doing his shows for them. It always made Harry sad that he and Bess never had children. It was the one thing missing from their marriage. He was jealous of his brother, Theo, who had sons. But Bess and Harry were happy together anyways. For them, pets became like children. Their dog Charlie traveled with them for 8 years. Harry and Bess also had many friends, although he was too busy to have much of a social life. He loved meeting other famous people, especially ones who knew who he was. On one boat trip between Europe and America, he astonished former President Teddy Roosevelt with some of his tricks. For the rest of his life, Harry treasured the photograph he had of the two of them together, Harry and Teddy. There are also photographs of Houdini with Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, two of the greatest comic stars of the silent screen. And Houdini became good friends with Jack London, author of The Call of the Wild and White Fang. He also met Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the man who created Sherlock Holmes. But this friendship ended less happily for Harry Houdini, the Harry and Jack. Going back to the World War One, it said began on June 28, 1914. The First World War pitted Russia, Britain, Italy, and France against Germany, Austria, and what is now Turkey. It was the first modern war with frightening new weapons like machine guns and tanks. Both sides were powerful and well armed, and neither side was willing to give in. The war dragged on for more than 4 years. About 10 million people died. When the war started, President Woodrow Wilson was determined to keep the United States out of it. He told people to remain neutral, and he tried to maintain trading and diplomatic relations with both sides. But on May 7th, 1915, a German submarine attacked the British ship Louisiana. 128 Americans were killed. Then, in early 1917, German submarines started sinking all ships bound for Britain, including American ones. Soon, President Wilson and the United States had no choice but to join the war. American troops, supplies, and weapons helped turn the tides of the war. And finally, in November 1918, the Germans surrendered and peace was reached.